Let's make a variation on the classic with this cranberry apple pie, perfect for any fall or holiday table. For the pie pastry, add 360 grams or 3 cups of all-purpose flour to a large mixing bowl and add 5 grams or 1 teaspoon of kosher salt and whisk that together. Next, add 70 grams, which is 12 tablespoons of cold, cubed, unsalted butter, along with 60 grams or 5 tablespoons of vegetable shortening. Toss the fat in the flour a bit and then use the tips of your fingers to press down on each piece, creating flat sheets. You are done working the fat in when it looks like you have a really coarse meal with lots of pieces of fat throughout that are about the size of walnut halves. Next, we're going to add our ice water. Add the water little by little while gently mixing the dough and turning over itself, making sure you are getting all of the dry patches. Be gentle here, we are not trying to make a cohesive dough at this point. Your dough is finished being mixed when it looks like a very shaggy dough, but there are no visible dry patches and it doesn't crumble when you gently press it together. Turn your dough onto the counter and gently press it together and then divide it in half. Press each half into a disc and then wrap in plastic wrap and refrigerate for a minimum of 1 hour and up to 2 days. When you are ready to assemble the pie, flour a work surface, the top of one piece of dough, and a rolling pin. Roll your dough out to about an 1/8 inch thick and make sure the dough is at least 1 inch wider than your pie plate all the way around. Gently transfer the dough to the pie plate without stretching it to fit and put it in the refrigerator while you make the filling. For the filling, slice your apples about a 1/2 inch thick and you will need 700 grams or 1.5 pounds of sliced apples. You'll also want to place a sheet pan in the oven to get really hot while it preheats to 400 degrees Fahrenheit or 200 degrees Celsius at this point. In a large mixing bowl, add 200 grams or 1 cup of granulated sugar and rub 2 tablespoons of orange zest into it. Next, add 30 grams or a 1/4 cup of cornstarch, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, a 1/2 teaspoon of ginger, a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, and a large pinch of salt. Mix all of that together. Add the apples to the bowl along with 200 grams or 2 cups of fresh or frozen cranberries and 30 grams or 2 tablespoons of orange juice. Mix all of that together and add to the prepared crust. Add 30 grams or 2 tablespoons of cubed butter to the top of the filling here, and I forgot to do it at this point, so you'll see me sneak it under the top crust later. Roll out the second piece of pie pastry and add it to the top of your filling. You can leave the pastry whole and cut steam vents, or I am doing a lattice crust. Crimp the edges, brush with an egg wash, and sprinkle with granulated or coarse sugar. Place the pie on your preheated sheet pan and bake at 400 degrees Fahrenheit, 200 degrees Celsius for 30 minutes, and then turn down the heat to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, 175 degrees Celsius, and bake for an additional 20 to 35 minutes until the filling is rapidly bubbling in the center and not just on the edges. Allow to cool for at least 3 hours before slicing to let the filling set. You can find the full, detailed, and printable recipe on bakerbettie.com.